Hello, Raging Chicken press readers and members, and welcome to our podcast. Today, you're going to be listening to a pre-recorded interview I conducted with Rizzo Mertz. Rizzo is an alumni from Millersville University, and Rizzo and I go back a few years to when Governor Corbett originally proposed his 50% cuts to higher education. We were part of the group of students who were involved in planning demonstrations against Governor Corbett on patchy campuses around the Commonwealth. Currently, Rizzo is involved with planning demonstrations, once again, against Governor Corbett, who will be delivering the Millersville University Commencement address. This choice for the commencement speakership has stirred a lot of controversy, and today we're going to be explaining that why it is so controversial. Before we get into the interview, I'm going to let you know how you can help support and sustain activist media like this. For $5 a month, you can help the Raging Chicken Press with a monthly membership. That membership will go towards getting better equipment like this, so I'm not using these crappy headsets. And it will also be able to help us advertise on Facebook or help fund investigative journalism in the state. Thank you, and with that, I bring you Rizzo Mertz.
Hello, Raging Chicken press readers and members. This is Sean Kitchen. Today we are talking to Rizzo Mertz. Rizzo is an alumni at Millersville University, and we are going to be talking about Tom Corbett speaking at Millersville's commencement ceremony this year. So, Rizzo, how's everything going?
Very well. How about yourself, Sean?
Pretty good. So, what have you been up to lately with this? Can you explain everything that's been going on with Governor Corbett speaking at Millersville for commencement?
Sure. I sure can, actually. I know the last time I spoke with Rick Smith on his broadcast, news had obviously just broke. Things are still fresh in everyone's mind. And we had been able to focus a lot of that energy and student organization against the university's decision to host Governor Corbett for the commencement, and that action has resulted in a great deal of work and research. Basically, what I can tell you is that the graduating seniors have taken it upon themselves, and quite admirably, I might add, to basically organize themselves in basically planning some sort of respectful and civil display of dissent and protest on the day of commencement. Kyle Johnson being one of the graduating seniors at Millersville that I am in contact with on a regular basis. Basically, during a recent WGAL broadcast, which is our local news on the NBC channel, basically expressed that the graduating seniors at Millersville are indeed going down the route of having some sort of a demonstration that's, I guess you can call it the silent variety, which is basically encompasses our attitude that we want to keep this as respectful and civil as possible, because obviously it's the students and their friends and family who are all in attendance, and there are going to be some individuals in the assembly there who may not feel as strongly as we do about the university's decision. So what is being basically planned, from what I understand, is wearing of yellow armbands or golden armbands, because black and gold are Millersville University's colors. And Kyle is basically keeping a lot of the details mum for the public, basically for the reason that came out during a public forum that the Millersville Student Senate held. Now, I bring that up because basically what was said during that forum was that Dr. Burrow, who is our Vice President for Student Affairs, basically came out and said that the Commencement Committee and the administrators who are involved with the commencement ceremonies have to review the ideas of basically wearing armbands or anything of that nature, because, as they claim, we need to keep, the graduating attire and decorum and things of that nature.
But
yes, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, let me interrupt you for a moment. But I thought this is a free speech issue. I thought, there's a lot of free speech. That free speech mantra or frame has been thrown around by the Millersville administration. And so they want to try to squash free speech from the students who are pissed off about Governor Corbett speaking at their administration. I mean, this is the person who is responsible for destroying their track team and their cross-country teams. Am I not correct?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. The administration has framed this issue as one that encompasses free speech, and I'm happy to bring this up. During the course of the public forum, a student in attendance did bring up the fact that regardless of where a university stands on graduation attire, the robes and gowns and things of that nature, there's not much that the administration can do, because there is a wonderful thing in our United States Constitution called the First Amendment, basically hallmarking our freedom of free expression, and as long as, and basically the MUPD Police Chief Anders did say that as long as the law says that as long as it doesn't disrupt the business of the university, it's basically A-OK. And I don't see how altering one's graduation attire or standing up and turning your back to Governor Corbett or things of that nature would be disrupting the business of the university, because if the administration wants to frame it as a free speech issue, and yet when the students want to exercise that said right, they can't have their cake and eat it too. Either it's a free speech issue or it's not a free speech issue.
And so what you're telling me is the administration wants these graduating class to just sit there and just take it on the chin, basically, after, they may have had to stay there for an extra semester, pay an extra few $1,000s because of these budget cuts, right?
Yeah,
that's what they just want them to sit there and take it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where a lot of the students, a lot of the graduating seniors, a lot of the current students and alumni, including myself, who, either their graduation was delayed. Mine was delayed a month. I had to, by no fault of my own, on my commencement program, there was a little asterisk next to my name that said that I would actually be graduating as of June 30th, as opposed to my day of commencement. So right there, for everyone to see, during my commencement, was that I'm basically there, but not actually officially receiving my degree during that day. And I'm not one of those individuals who basically did 12 credits and dug myself into a hole. No, I legitimately went about planning my academic career at Millersville, where I should have graduated on time. But because of the impact that the budget cuts had at the university, many general education classes were reduced. A lot of the advanced courses that I needed for, for example, for electives or things of that nature, or for the advanced requirements of my majors, I was just unable to take, because the registration process at MU is convoluted as it is, and then when you add the added sting and negative impact of the budget cuts, it made not only my prospects of graduating on time not come to fruition, but that was reflected on a lot of other students as well. And that doesn't even speak to the number of students who also, by no fault of their own, were unable to continue their education and will basically are now in the realm where they had to drop out of school, go into a deplorable job market, which is, we can also lay that fault on the governor's doorstep as well. And
I think he's. No, let me jump in. I think he's 34th in the country in job creation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and a little more than a year ago, we were 7th. Within 1 year of Governor Corbett taking office, Pennsylvania went from 7th to 34th, which it seems to be a trend where Tea Party governors basically take over a state that is doing quite admirably in job creation, and then during the course of their term, they are seeing the state through their own policies go from pretty respectable numbers to rankings that are anything but. You can basically, I think, if I remember correctly, the governor of, I believe it's Wisconsin, went from 11th to, I think it was 44th in job creation. So and if you look at the agenda of both Governor Corbett and the governors of Wisconsin, you see there are a lot of similarities, and you're also seeing a lot of the same results of those agendas. And call me crazy, but that's that's not a coincidence. That just happens to be like cause and effect to me. And
now, who do you think was the one who framed this free speech issue? Would it possibly be the governor's former communications director, Kevin Harley, who is now on the board of trustees at Millersville? Do you think that Kevin Harley is there wanting to protect his dear leader from any type of criticism, kissing the feet of his former boss who got him that job and probably was one of the reasons why he's at Millersville right now on the board of trustees? Do you think that could be it?
Well, okay. Well, let me first say that he still is the press secretary. Mr. Harley continues to be the press secretary of Governor Corbett.
And he's also, let me also add, he's one of the biggest pricks probably inside the whole entire Corbett administration.
He's an alumni of Millersville. I will give him that. He graduated with a degree in political science, the same degree I graduated with, but that does not lend itself to appointing Mr. Harley to be a trustee onto the council at Millersville. If you look at the duties of trustee, they set the room and board fees, and look at the formulation and continuation of academic programs and courses, and also whether or not to expand degree offerings. So being a trustee at a posh university is a job that would entail a lot of know-how and background in the administration of institution of higher education. And Mr. Harley just does not have that. He does not possess the necessary credentials, in my opinion, to truly exemplify himself as a trustee and to have the best intentions and best interests of the university and the faculty and students who are to attend Millersville. So if you were to basically look at the lack of credentials, it just, on the surface, it looks basically, I'm going to say it looks like cronyism. It looks like the over-politicization of the Council of Trustees at Millersville. And to basically go back and tying this into your question, the administration is the one who's framing it as a free speech issue in collaboration, I believe, with Mr. Harley. I believe that...
Well, I mean, Mr. Harley does have a record at defending Governor Corbett whenever something happens, and he's always the first one to start throwing the mud at reporters or journalists or anyone who dares questions the governor's impeccable shining armor.
Oh, yes. Well, with the governor, you would have to be pretty good at that job, considering that the governor has approval rating somewhere along the line of 25 to 33%, making him one of the most unpopular governors in the country. So it would behoove Mr. Harley to, basically really step up to the plate as his glorious press secretary to defend his boss if all he can, and to paint any opponent of the governor in the worst light possible, while simultaneously trying to paint Corbett in the best light possible. And what better way to do that than to have the governor speak at a commencement at one of the 14 institutions of the Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education, a faction, an agency in the state where his budget cuts have had some of the most tangible impact. So if he can show to the state and to the people of the Commonwealth that he's being welcomed with open arms, and he's able to speak at the commencement at a public institution of higher learning in Pennsylvania, wouldn't that lend itself to possibly improving his approval numbers and making him a little bit more ideal for re-election?
Oh, come on. Oh, come on. You don't really think this is purely a political move. I mean, you really think that, come on now, don't you really think that the governor actually cares about us middle-class college students who are $25,000, $30,000 in debt after we get out of Apache school? Don't you think he cares about us?
If the governor cares about public education, I'm the king of England. The man has absolutely done nothing to further the cause of the fundamental tenets of what public education is supposed to do. If Governor Corbett truly had the best interests of public education, K-12, and public higher education, PASHE, and you can even extend that to the state-related universities. If he truly cared about all of this idea of public education as a whole, he would not have cut over $1 billion from primary education. He would not have proposed 50% cut to PASHE, and then proposed in the subsequent years 30% cut and then flat funding. Now, eventually.
Whoa. I believe the correct term here is cliff funding. We're not like we're,
It's true. It is because if you in Rachel, she could to do a amazing, article on the impacts of cliff funding, because, we're still looking at the effects of inflation. We're still looking at, what's the word I'm looking for? The, peripheral impacts that cliff funding has on the budgets within PASHE, because if you're going to cliff fund public higher education in the manner he's doing so, he basically, even though he's not overtly cutting the budget by simply flat funding or cliff funding them, he's still tying the hands of the students in order to afford themselves a high quality education at the lowest possible cost. Now,
but didn't you listen? Oh, hey, let me go in there for 1 minute. Didn't you listen to the man speak though back in January? We should be thankful that we are being cliff funded and not getting cut again. Especially with that Marcellus Shale sitting in the middle of the state with like a 2% severance tax, and like absolutely nothing goes into the general fund. We should be thankful that, with these corporate give outs and the $3 billion a year in corporate tax breaks that this governor is giving out, that, we should be thankful he's not taking the axe to education once again after he did it for 2 years in a row, and then, 1 year, and then the Senate saved our ass last year.
I would respond to that with thankful for what? The fact that we're, again, we'll go back to that fact again, 764th in job creation, so we're making it more difficult for the graduates from the universities to compete in the job market by cutting the budget cuts, by cutting the budgets of the PASHE schools. We are increasing class sizes, so we're not actually having true education. We're just turning the 14 schools into diploma mills. We're just basically, we'll raise enrollment to make up the any possible shortfalls. We'll just churn the students out like as if we're on an assembly line. Or are we thankful for that? Are we thankful for the elimination of extracurricular activities that can also harm for student athletes, for example, things that not only basically motivate them to succeed in the academic level, but to also succeed as student leaders on their teams and on their field of play. Are we thankful for the budget cuts that have curtailed the expansion of course offerings and expanded class sizes? Are we thankful for the increased workload that now the faculty members have to have, which basically prohibits them from actually teaching and actually conducting research? And instead, now their time is being spent grading mountains of exams and shepherding classes that have well over 100 students into them, and that does not lay the foundation for a sound education at all.
Well,
is that what we're thankful for?
Well, I mean, we are trying to expand online education in this state to get students in, get students out as quickly as possible, and so on. But a couple of minutes ago, you hit on a really good point. You mentioned the word cronyism, and it seems like there's a lot of cronyism happening here at Millersville University. We have, we have Kevin Harley, who is a Board of Trustee member and who is sitting in the governor's cabinet. And we also have, Jerry Eckert, who is the head of the Commencement, who is the head.
He chairs the Commencement Speaker Committee, and he's also, his official role at the university is Vice President for University Advancement. Please don't try to laugh at that. Because if you're going to try to advance the university, would you not try to invite Governor Corbett to speak at Millersville, invite the man who has made the lives of countless public education students and their families so much more stressful, and has increased their financial burden just so immense, on such an immense scale. So if one's job is to basically advance the cause of the university, that would, of course, if you were to use some sort of logical thinking, would be also to further the cause of public higher education. And going back to his role as the chairman of the Commencement Speaker Committee.
Wasn't he? There's something I'm missing here. Oh, that's right. I think he was on the governor's higher education committee for the past couple of years. Am I not mistaken with that as well?
Yeah, he actually does serve in that capacity as well, which, again, it would be funny if it wasn't so tragic. Like, seriously, if he's sitting on the governor's panel for public higher education, and the result of, I guess, that collaboration is let's gut. I'll come out and I'll say, let's gut the system of public education in the Commonwealth.
Or privatize it, which is, I think...
yeah, exactly. Back to our privatization. That's exactly what it is. We'll call it how we see it. So, if that's the case, then how is one supposed to be the chief individual who's supposed to be advancing the cause of the university and also advancing the cause of the tenets of public education? That we're just not seeing that. Like, Mr. Eckert came right out and said that he screwed up by not formally calling and convening the committee to even meet.
But I thought at first the press lady who handles the public relations at Millersville denied that. Am I correct with that? Ms. Koskas?
Yeah, Janet. I believe her last name is pronounced Kaskos, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, she when the controversy first broke, she basically came right out and said that the procedures were followed, nothing was tainted or anything of that nature. But then Mr. Eckert comes out during the public forum and says, "I never convened the committee because I screwed up." Okay, if you screwed up, then would you not also, extend a public apology in some way, shape, or form? Because by not calling the committee, the faculty members who sit on that committee were completely unaware of any decision that was made for commencement speaker. So when the news broke that Governor Tom Corbett was chosen to be the commencement speaker, obviously the members of that committee were absolutely in arms about why, it just up in arms with rage as to, wait a second. You are inviting this man that over the past 2.5 years, you're vigorously encouraging the faculty and the students to stand against his policies, and now you're now you're inviting him, and now you're framing it as a free speech issue.
And also, I think on top of that, there are hundreds of unfilled spots on top of the faculty retrenchments that took place because of the governor's proposal. So their colleagues were also the ones who received the shaft and also received the shaft with these cuts.
Locally in Millersville, every single department, there's departmental cuts across the board of 10%. That was one of the more tangible things. So basically, many of the academic departments could no longer have student assistants basically assist in the operation. So, for example, many political science students couldn't participate in a work study program with the Department of Government and Political Affairs, which would allow them access to the faculty members of that department and be able to extend their knowledge that they're gaining in the classroom and begin to try to apply that to real life circumstances. They just by limiting the budget for allowing the hiring of these student assistants, they're also you're seeing the elimination of internships. You're seeing the elimination of graduate assistantships at Millersville and also the other 13 schools. And like you were mentioning earlier, we saw retrenchment. We saw the laying off of numerous faculty and staff members. So if Governor Corbett tries to frame himself as, because his way he ran on when he was first elected, I want to create jobs, blah, 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 blah. I want to stand as a alternative to President Obama's policies. And now we're just seeing, the wonderful fruits of our labor of electing him, even though I didn't vote for him. But, if he wants to frame himself as a job-creating governor, and he wants to have these policies of giving billions of dollars in tax breaks and subsidies to these corporations, I have to ask the question, why are you not creating jobs? And also, go further, your policies are actually destroying jobs. So, again, my question will always be to the administration, why are we hosting him at Millersville University for a commencement? I don't understand the reasoning for it, and I flatly reject. They're framing this of this free speech issue, and this is the same scenario as when William Ayers was invited to the campus, but that's apples and oranges. William Ayers spoke in an education lecture, which I attended, and it was awesome. It was very informative. I enjoyed his lecture. This is commencement. This is not a lecture. This is a captive audience. I had a choice to go to this lecture. Many graduating seniors, granted, you could say they kind of have a choice to go to the commencement, but for commencement, they're most likely 9 times out of 10 going to go there and enjoy their day. But how can they go and enjoy their day when the man who made their lives more difficult is standing right there on the stage in front of them, speaking words of encouragement and wisdom to them? Again, I just have to cry.
Mm-hmm. And one last point: the other day, one of our newest gubernatorial candidates, Congresswoman Allison Schwartz, was on the Rachel Maddow show, and she stated one of the first things the governor did was kick over 90,000 children off of, health insurance. No more health insurance for 90,000 children. And then he cut the education budgets by 50%. And she went on to mention that the following year he wanted to cut education by another 50% almost. And we were able to, or 20%, and we were able to get that to no cuts. We were able to I hate using that word, but we were able to have no cuts the following year. So, and she credited this to the pushback from us, the students, from the very angry people who were able to stave off those cuts last year, who were able to bring the 50% cuts from 2 years ago down to 20%. What type of pushback do you think we will see? Even though it's been, pretty tight-lipped, do you think we're going to see some pretty nice images of Commencement Day getting out there on social media so a lot of people can see what's happening inside the ceremony?
I would say, I believe we can expect to see some very vivid images of dissent and democracy in action on the day of commencement. I would be surprised if that wasn't the case. But I am confident in the energy and the determination of purpose of the graduating seniors and also the rest of the Millersville University community. We are fielding so many messages, emails that have just expressed to us just admiration, respect from faculty members, from teachers, from alumni, from concerned citizens throughout the Commonwealth, and I would even argue across the country that they are seeing what we're doing, and we are standing up to a governor who granted a multi-billion-dollar deficit when he took office, but he chose to utilize a twisted and warped method of closing that budget shortfall by balancing that budget on the backs of the working and middle class, on the backs of the students, on those who could least bear that burden. And he, all the while, instead of helping small businesses, he chose instead to reward his campaign donors and to reward his big business buddies with billions of dollars in tax breaks. If one truly wants to see their state grow and prosper, not only economically, but socially and culturally as well, you do not go after the middle class. A strong middle class is the hallmark of any type of free market or any type of capitalistic democratic society. Without a prosperous middle class that has the ability to send their children off to college or technical school or to and to any program to further their education, and to be able to give them the opportunity to improve their lot in life, to follow their dreams, and to realize their passions, we are only collectively hurting ourselves. And sooner the Commonwealth realizes that Tom Corbett is not the right governor for the economic times that we live in, the faster that we can try to dig the hole that we've dug ourselves by electing him, and we can try to heal the massive divisions and the economic and environmental destruction that he has brought on the state. I am absolutely following all the contenders in the upcoming gubernatorial elections, because a lot of them are saying what every one of us is thinking, that Governor Corbett has absolutely failed every single Pennsylvanian. Many Pennsylvanians realize this. There's some out there who still follow his agenda, still support him. God knows why. I don't understand it. But they will soon realize, it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but at some point, history will look back and see Governor Tom Corbett as one of, if not, the worst governors of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
All right. There you have it. That's everything with Rizzo Mertz. Thank you for joining me today, Rizzo.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. I look forward to speak to you later on in the future about this issue with Governor Corbett. And I really appreciate that you came on to our podcast, even though we are still in our infancy with this. And it was a little rough, but getting used to it.
Well, I'm happy that I was able to speak with you, and I just want to say on a first level, I really do enjoy what the work that Raging Chicken Press does produce, and all you fine, talented individuals that work for RCP, you have my unending admiration and respect.
Thank you very much. There you go. So that's why you should give everyone at the Raging Chicken Press a $5 monthly membership. Thank you, Riz.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No problem at all. You have a
Thank you, Rizzo. Have a great one.
Thank you.